Good evening, legends. Welcome to another episode of Chat with Matt, and it's a little bit of a late night one tonight where I speak to elite obstacle racer Shannon Dally, who's over in WA. She's running a little bit later than usual tonight, and Shannon was born in New Zealand and 14 years ago moved over to WA. And it was supposed to be for a few years, but he loved it so much that he never left. He grew up running, hitting triathlons and playing state level soccer, getting hooked on obstacle racing after his first Tough Mudder back in 2013. Now, Shannon has won True Grit Perth twice and placed highly in the Bright Trifecta. You might have also seen him getting around the True Grit 24 Enduro course, which I think might be where I met him. Shannon recently started Bulldog Bootcamp and loves helping people with fitness, running and nutrition. And he's probably one of the most entertaining athletes that I follow on Instagram. His stories are amazing. So get over and follow him at Shan_obstacle running man. But let's just get straight into it because we're running a little bit late with some tech issues tonight. Shannon, how are you, man?
Good afternoon, Mr. Moore. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Sorry about the.
Thank you for that illustrious introduction. It was very nice of you.
You're very welcome, man. You're very welcome.
Yeah, apologies for the tech issues.
No, look, it was probably me.
We were getting pretty close to seeing the letters.
Yeah. What I am going to do, man, is I'm just going to go into this live and I'm just going to share it very quickly into the event so people actually know that it's happening because we had some tech issues and I had a scheduled live, and if you don't go live when it's scheduled, Facebook will like, fuck you, now you can't have it at all. So
Facebook's not like
that. You reckon? You do most of your stuff on IG, don't you? It's a bit smart.
Yeah, I kind of fell off the Facebook train a little bit.
Yeah.
And most of my family's on IG, so I can get away with a few extra things on there that they wouldn't want to see.
Perfect. My family are everywhere. They just deal with my antics on all platforms.
They still love you.
That's right. My dad. So I obviously run obstacle racing in not much clothing, and my younger sister is a big burlesque dancer. She's actually in Perth, Sammy Sparkles. So she's one of the biggest burlesque dancers in Australia. So we basically are nude on our socials like all the time. And my dad's like, "Can you please just put some fucking clothes on?"
Yeah, you can imagine them chatting up at the pub. So what do your kids do? Well.
Yeah. Do you have any photos of your kids? No, I don't.
No, nothing that I'm going to show you. Nothing I'm proud of.
Yeah, it's good though. It's good. They love it, I think. So, are any of your family on your Insta? Because your IG gets a little bit loose. Your stories occasionally.
Yeah, every now and then it gets a little bit carried away. But yeah, my old boy's on there. So he's in Perth as well. He's in Bridgetown, 3 hours south of Perth. So he gets on there and chucks his dad jokes up there and his little input and all that sort of stuff.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Perfect. And did you you said you moved over there 14 years ago? You got out of Unzud. Was your old man here first, or did you come first and then he followed?
Yeah, he was here first. Come over for the old holiday and thought, oh yeah, pretty all right. You know, stuck in a little town of 30,000 people, moving to a town of a couple of mil, and it was like a bit of a change. So yeah, thought we'd try it out.
Yeah, awesome. And you're in Perth too, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. It's a good town, man. I really like it over there. I try to get over for the Fringe Festival when I can.
Oh yeah.
Around February, March. Obviously because my sister's in the burlesque scene, so she's always performing and stuff. But it's just a really cool little festival.
Yeah, I've never actually been to the Fringe, but yeah, Perth. It took me a long time to get used to because I never really moved here to stay. It was supposed to be the Kiwi dream of moving over, making a couple of $1 million, going home and retiring on a farm. But no, it just sort of 1 year turned into two, turned into a house, turned into a dog, turned into kids, and then just finally grew to love the place. And it's it's a beautiful city, man. Like obviously the weather's pretty much perfect all year round. Being a Kiwi, I'm in shirts and short. Believe it or not, I do wear shirts as well. I'm not much clothing all year round, so you hardly even have to look at the weather forecast. You just know it's always going to be good, and you got the beach that way, you got the hills that way. It's perfect.
Some beautiful sunsets there too, man. Sunset Boulevard.
I'm going down right now.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. We've got a couple of people jumping on live, so we'll just go through and say good day to everyone.
Do it.
And then we'll get into it. Doris here, saying love.
Luve.
Fonzie's here as well. Sean's here. Doris here again with better spelling. Ree's here. Doris saying so much.
Kind of like Luve. I like the Luve.
I like Luve. I might say that now. If you're watching Luve, give us a hashtag Luve. Dora's here. Cheryl's here. Dom's here from the kitchen. Thank you for dinner, Dom. It was very nice. Dora's saying no, keep clothes off. Perfect. Corey's live. Somebody else says hi, Matt and Shan, but I can't see who it is. So in the description of the video, guys, there's going to be a link, and I'm gonna type it into the comments so that you guys can see it. But it's a Beeline link, and basically you've just got to log into the program. You do it once, and as soon as you're logged in, we can bring your pretty picture on screen, just like we can bring Sam Ilsley's here. And Lisa's here as well. Robbie Cardillo's here. Tanya Bates is here. We got heaps of people jumping on. So that's the link there, guys. So if you see it in the comments, click on that, log in. That way we can see your lovely faces, and you can engage with us, and I can bring your comments on screen. So what did you get up to today, man?
Pretty standard day for me, mate. I got up 5, went down to the gym, did a little program that I designed last night and instantly regretted it, which is pretty much what I normally do. Always sort of tend to overthink what I'm going to be able to do. So yeah, just did a gym session after work for 7:30, 8 o'clock, and then sort of 8-9 hour day, home, cooked dinner, and then tried to figure out how to work a laptop.
Yeah, awesome. we sick, man. How often do you? How much do you train? Are you always in a gym? I see you out on the trails all the time.
Yeah, it's been a little bit probably less than what I suppose I'd normally do. Just a few injuries and a few other things going on with work, and obviously with COVID, I sort of wasn't working, so I had to get a job, and then just trying to make that the priority. So I mean, probably on a normal week at the moment, 4 or 5 times a week. Definitely a lot less running than I used to do. There was 5-6 times a week of running, sort of 3 gym sessions a week. But yeah, I just haven't. I hate to use the term haven't had time, because I hate that term. I always do believe you can make time, but I just have different priorities at the moment. So I've still been getting out, keeping fit, but just not at the level that I possibly have been the last couple of years. But I'm also happy with that. I'm realistic that once I sort of decide to do that, I can bring that back in. It's fine. Yeah,
definitely. I think you hit the nail on the head there too, because when people say I don't have enough time, it's like, well, it's a priority thing, right? It's where you prioritize your time, and sometimes important shit comes up. Sometimes work gets busy. Sometimes 2020 comes along and fucks everyone over, and your priorities shift a little bit. But and I think I've spoken to a couple of athletes this year who've sort of done the same thing, and the immediate events have gone away, and it's like, what, I can just relax a little bit, I can sort some other shit out, and then when the events come back up and they start ramping back up, we can get into business, and I know I'm going to tune up pretty quick.
Yeah, look, when COVID first hit, it was great. Like, I was training 2-3 times a day. Obviously, we were in lockdown with my partner Haley. We were just doing little partner workouts all day, every day. It was great. And then, reality sunk in that, needed to actually get a job, and just had to make the priority of that. So, I was pretty fit during that stage, but not anymore.
Yeah, you're getting out. I've seen you running out with, you must have a deal with like a local camera shop or something. You've always got like GoPros and drones.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah. I know the guys at Leadable Camera House there. Yeah, so they sort of hooked me up with a GoPro a little while ago, and then I got a drone, just a toy, man. I just love showing people what's out there, what they can see. Obviously, being from New Zealand, when I first moved here, I found it really hard to find information about the trails and just see what was out there. So for me, it is a big passion, sharing information, helping people, getting them into the bush, because all I really want is for people to get out there and experience it. And you find once they get out there once, they just get hooked straight away. They just need that confidence or that information to get out there. And for me, the GoPro is partly that, obviously partly just like making little videos and running around and being a goofball and capturing stuff. But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, cool. And we've got a couple of questions rolling in. Tanya Bates is saying, hi, Matt. Hey, how are you, girl? Sean Lewson, he's firing shots already. Doesn't WA mean wait a while? I lived there for 12 months. It is the most isolated city in the world.
It is the most isolated city in the world, which the only advantage that we've had is currently in the COVID situation. So we have no cases. We've been pretty lucky with that.
What's your premier's name?
That's Scott Morrison. Fuck, I should know it. Up and going.
Yeah, that's it. He's handled it beautifully. He's just like, well, we're just going to shut our fucking borders. You guys can keep your shit over there.
Yeah, it's worked pretty well. It's worked pretty well, but then it's also going to bite us in the ass with the economy and stuff like that. But no, I mean, it's pretty lucky, really, at the end of the day. It's about the only time being the most isolated city in the world has worked out for us. But yeah, I mean, WA that does tend to happen over here. You kind of get forgotten about being over in the Western States with obviously the news and everything else that happens, but just make it what you want to make it, mate.
Yeah, you are closer to Bali, so there's pros and cons.
Exactly.
Kerry's here. Let's get straight into a question that Lisa's asked. I met Lisa at Raw Challenge up here a couple of weeks ago, getting around with the crew from work. What's the worst advice? Can you see these comments, by the way? I
can. Yeah, that's good.
Can Hayley hear me?
Sorry?
I said, can Hayley hear me?
She's gone to the bedroom. She was sick of listening to you, so she's like, see ya.
I was going to say, thanks for the laptop, Hayley.
Yeah.
We were trying to sort it out on the phone.
She might be watching. She might be the anonymous Facebook user.
Could be. That's okay. So there's going to be some awkward questions come in, maybe? Is she going to snitch up?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, depends if the boys get in there or not.
Good. Lisa's just asked, what's the worst advice you hear about preparing for a Spartan Trifecta?
Look, I suppose, yeah, it is a really good question, and one that I've actually
I'm going to start asking everyone that.
Yeah, I know. Just come on with a hard one straight away. You've set her up for this, haven't you? No, I suppose the worst thing that people can do that I've heard is probably around the nutrition thing. I find nutrition is probably the one thing that you can't really get solid information or solid experience from other people about. It's something that you have to try yourself. You have to experience it. You have to have the failures. So you quite often see people leading up to like a big event like that, asking other people what they use. You know, do you use this gel or that gel or bars and all this sort of stuff? If you haven't tried it before the race, don't use it. It's as simple as that, because I've made the mistake many times. And my first ultra was in Brisbane, Ivory Rocks there, and I was that guy. I used Isoway gels. I'd never had them before. I'd never eaten a banana during a race. I'd never eaten a Cliff Bar, and did the whole lot in one race, and I was on the toilet that night.
Wouldn't have gone well for you.
No, it wasn't a great experience. So yeah, I guess just asking, maybe not worrying so much about what other people do when it comes to nutrition, especially like gear and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you can get pretty good indication from other people, but nutrition just has to be tried by yourself.
Yeah. I'm lucky enough to chat to a lot of athletes like yourself, and Lachlan Danzy, Liam McKenzie. I've chatted to a lot of the guys who are winning these races, and everyone asks the nutrition question, especially the beginners. They're like, "Ask him what he eats." They message me, and I'm like, "Doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to go and do it.
It won't work for you."
Like Hunty and Liam McKenzie, they both love a banana. I can't have a banana. I can't have an exercise. I just get mad reflux. So you've really got to find what works for you. And I think you see it in marathons. So you see it in marathons. It's really common where people, how you run a marathon, and about 2/3 of the way through, you start to see the aid stations with like the tables from GU Gels or whatever who are sponsoring the event. And the people who are fucking dying, because it's legitimate, it's 2/3 through the marathon. That's about the point where you start to lose the will to live. They're grabbing all these gels, trying to
just whatever
bring
they
themselves
can
back around. and then a K later you see them throwing up, or you see them in the portaloos because they're
the ones
just go
with the shit down their legs and the photos on Instagram.
Right. Yeah. So their stomachs just go, not today.
Yeah.
Not today. We're not doing that. So yeah. Good,
I mean, the
advice.
other thing I'll bring up is breakfast. I get asked all the time about breakfast. What do you have for breakfast? What do you have for breakfast on race day? Same thing I have every day. Like you eat the same thing for 350, 360 days of the year. Why would you go and upset your stomach and just change it on race day? So I generally eat the same thing race day, which is toast, to be honest. Just have another piece of toast. That's a little hack that I've always sort of believed in.
Yeah, man. Well, let's dig into it while we're on the topic. Is there any specific nutrition protocols that you stick to, or anything weird or wonderful that you do?
Man, I pretty much call it common sense eating. I don't calorie count. I don't follow any diet. I'm not vegan or vegetarian or anything like that. I pretty much just eat a pretty balanced, healthy diet. I don't get upset if I have a caramel slice for morning tea, a piece of chocky. Obviously, I do. No secret, I do like the beers. Whether I get away with it, like I say, I'm not interested in calories. I don't train for looks. I don't train for any of that sort of stuff. So it's just literally about, trying to get some fruit and veggies in every day. Obviously Western society, we probably eat too much red meat, especially. So I've sort of taken that down a lot as I get a bit older. It used to be the old rump steak, a little bit of potato, and now it's sort of gone the other way sort of thing. But no, for me, there's no magic medicine. I just think it's common. For me, it's common sense. Maybe I've just been doing it long enough where I know what works for my body. But I try and keep like a sort of a long-term thing with it as well. I'm not a big fan of diets and stuff. I mean, they work great for people, that first sort of 3-6 months to try and maybe lose some weight and stuff like that, or maybe get them redirected in what can work for them. But for me, it's about the long term. If you can't do something long term, then it's probably not going to work.
Yeah, cool. We've got a couple more yous coming in. Dora says, I have no Tinder. Message me after, I'll show you how to hook that up. What's
I'm guessing that's aimed at you, mate.
I don't know. Lisa says what's best. There you go. So we flipped the question the other way.
What was the question, sorry? The best advice.
Same. Yeah, what's the best advice? Same person.
Time on feet. Run. Time on feet. Slow running on feet. So again, running, I'm the biggest hypocrite of this. Every run I sort of go out, supposed to do 5-minute Ks or something like that, and it just ends up being some sort of ego competition inside my own head where I just, there'll be someone ahead of me, or I don't know, I just end up competitive with myself. But I mean, especially for things like, I think it was the same person that asked about the trifecta. It's just really about time on feet from my point of view. Obviously, everyone's going to have their own sort of weaknesses. So you need to work on those weaknesses. If it's something that you're not good at, you should work on it. And that's tend to be what people stay away from. But for me, a trifecta is about spending time on your feet, whether that's hiking with a sack, like a rucksack, just long, slow runs, Stairmaster for an hour, not quite as many as high as Mount Everest like you did, you dickhead. It doesn't have to be intense. I think they call it zone 2 if you want to look into zone 2 heart rate. Low intensity, time on your feet, build it up, an extra 5% of kilometers or time every week. And that will get you through a trifecta, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Monica Holmwood's here. Hey, girl.
Hey, Mom.
How are you? Where are you? Are you still, let us know, are you still traveling around Queensland? She's got some questions. So what was Red Dust OCR like? So Red Dust was a new race organizer that just put an event on down there, yeah? Did you hear it, Shannon?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely. We're pretty lucky. It almost seems like we now have a obstacle racing season in Perth. So that's pretty cool. We obviously just had True Grit. We had the Red Dust a little while before that, and we've also got another Red Dust in December. But now Red Dust are really up in the game, especially when it comes to obstacles. This sort of, we had a little 5K course there. We've got another one in December, I think the 12th, 13th, I think it is. I'll probably get a message about that, getting that wrong later on. But no, Red Dust was really good. Nice, short, flat course. Some real new obstacles that haven't been seen before. It was really, really good vibe. Really enjoyed it.
The guy or whoever's running their social media account messaged me before their event and said, "Oh, we've got these obstacles. What do you think of them?" And one was like a blender sort of thing that sort of turned, and I think you jumped up and you sort of climbed it like a ladder and it lifted a hoist or something. Like
Yeah, so basically it's almost like a hamster wheel, but for your hands. So it has 4 bars.
Yeah.
Every time you pull the bar, obviously the next one comes down and it lifts up a bell, and you've obviously got to hit the bell to the top, which you know what it's like with obstacle course racing. You feel like you're going to nail something, then you kind of get halfway through and you fucking get the shits and you're like, oh, you kind of lose control. But just stuff like that, just really cool stuff. They've got some massive rigs coming in. They've only just, like I said, they've done their first event. They pulled it off really well. So they're only going to get better and bigger. I know they're talking about some bigger events as well.
Yeah, cool. Mon said, is it going to be worth traveling for once borders open?
I think so.
Over?
I think so for sure. I know they've got some pretty decent sponsors and stuff on board as well now. So if you're the sort of person that wants to travel for prize money and sponsorship and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they'll make it worth the while. Because they know that we are isolated. They know that it's a long way for to get the Eastern Staters over here, because you guys have got some massive talent over there that we want here. We want them. I want to race. The Liam McKenzies and the Lachlan Dainsies, and maybe not Hunty because I can't be bothered listening to his shit. But we want to race with those boys. We want those guys here, but we also know that it's a long way. It's a long way to come. You don't hear us whinging every fucking 2 minutes when we have to come all the way over there. But no, I definitely see Red Dust being like a place to hit up in the next few years for sure.
Yeah, cool, mate. I might. I've just written down a note. I think I'll see if I can get the guys from there to come on and have a chat prior to their
5th and 6th of December, and you're going to get there wrong.
Someone will always correct in the comments. Dora's saying, trying to message, have no time. That's okay.
Make time.
And make time. It's not a priority. So, another question from Mon. Shannon seems pretty agile in career changes. How many different skills careers have you had, and how did you manage with the uncertainty to change? How do you manage with that uncertainty to change industries?
If we're talking about work, I probably haven't had that many changes. I mean, I've pretty much been a tradie, fixing food equipment, coffee machines, stuff like that all my life, where I left school, I did learn a sort of large range of skills. I'm a bit of a jack of all, I'm not a master of any. So I mean, I've always done sort of that sort of stuff since I was in school. So it might look like I've done a few different jobs. And then Mon's possibly referring back to when I started with F45 Kelmscott last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been interested in training, playing soccer and running and triathlon in the younger days. And then just once I sort of got over here and, the whole Instagram thing, I do just have a real big passion for just getting people out there and helping people and giving them information and just trying to get them to the path they want to go to as quickly as possible. If I know that. If I don't know it, I'm also not going to fucking pretend. I'm going to send them the right way. Never pretended to be an expert on anything. And then I guess just last year, yeah. A couple of years ago, decided that I really wanted to make that official. Did my Cert 3 and 4 in fitness. I was training in an F45 already, and I was training at Armidale, Byford and Kelmscott. And then just managed to get a job there as a PT. So I did that in the mornings, and it's just such a rewarding job. You know what it's like, mate. You just change people's lives. Took me a while to see that. The first month or two, it was just like a good fun, like, jumping around like a bit of an idiot. But then you see the changes that you actually make. People are bringing you the numbers that they've lost. You're seeing people's techniques, people that you used to, I can't do a deadlift. And then a month later, you're not even looking at them because they're doing it properly. So, I mean, yeah, as far as career changes go, I probably didn't really have that many. I just that, I'm 36 now. Took me 34 to actually finally go and do something that was a passion of mine and actually try and do something with it. Which was, like I say, it was something that I was always doing. I was always helping people, but this just made it a little bit more official, and I actually was working at a gym. So.
Yeah, it's changing, man. I think I got into it maybe 28, 27.
Right.
But yeah, it's a big picture. I came out of corporate. Same thing, like, I was good at what I did, but as soon as you're helping people and you're doing something that's got a purpose, like, it's just It's different, man.
Oh,
It's different.
and like the amount of energy that I left, when I left that place every day, just, up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start at work at 5, and then going to my other job after that. Sleep wasn't great, but, I was just buzzing, just walking out of that place every day, just buzzing. So,
yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome. Dora's throwing lots of comments in. I don't know what's going on, Dora.
there's no full sentences though. She's a keyboard programmer.
Just take a deep breath. Lisa said, what do you think of that expression? If you want to go fast, go alone, versus if you want to go far together.
Bloody hell, Lisa. What sort of books have you been reading? Look, I suppose it depends, and that's the beautiful thing. If we're putting it back to OCR, that's the beautiful thing about OCR. Everyone does it for different reasons. I do it because I want to race. Obviously, I want to win, but I'm also realistic. If I know that I'm not going to win, but I'm still going to push. If you want to do it with a group of people, do it with a group of people. There is no right or wrong. If you're ready to go alone and try and see what you can do by yourself, physically and mentally, go alone. Go try and go fast. But if you want to do it with a group of people and just have a bit of fun, don't think you're quite ready yet, you want to teach someone something, I mean, you can also go pretty fast if you go by yourself as well, because you can blow up and have a shit of a race.
Yeah, definitely. That's true. Yeah, I think you're right. People do it for different reasons.
Yeah, that's what I love OCR.
I've often, like, we often get clients that come to us and they want to join the community and do it for fun, but then over time you see they start to lean into it a bit more and more, and then all of a sudden it's like, I might have a crack at an age cat. I might see what I can do. That's cool.
It's good though. I mean, it's really good to see people do that. I mean, I like that part of OCR. I'm sort of wired like that. I always like to push, but it's just also so cool. Like, the 98% of people that go there just to do it and enjoy it, and have a laugh, have a beer at the end of the day. I mean, that at the end of the day, essentially that's what OCR is about.
Yeah, I think we're in, like, if I'm trying to explain the community of OCR to people, I'm like, we're in a sport where there are people who are literally just volunteers and they travel around the country just to volunteer. That's how awesome the community is. So that's cool. Mon's back in SA. Cool. And 5th and 6th of December.
Thank you, Mr. Down. I'll get in trouble for that later, mate. Sorry.
All good. We're both way older than Mon thought. How old did you think we were, Mon?
Yeah, what's your skincare regime like?
I'm going great, man.
That's why I'm sitting back so far, mate.
I'm getting great, like fucking fast, like.
Yeah, it's all that stress you're under, mate. Just kick back a little bit.
It's not in my nature, man. It's not in my nature. So you're always active growing up. I think you did competitive soccer, triathlons, a couple other stuff.
Yeah, so I just I think it's just growing up in a small town, just used to run to all my mates' places. You'd ring up, on the old phone and what are you up to, and just run over to, Josh's or run over to David's, or, that's just sort of how you got around in a little old town. And then, I just played soccer from a really young age. Joined the local running club. I'm not sure, maybe when I was 10. My dad sort of, I don't know if it was a midlife crisis or not, he started getting into triathlons, started eating tofu and shit like that. Don't know what the fuck he was doing, but we joined a running club, and then I was all right. I was never like the best. Probably the best sort of position I got was in the 4K road race for the secondary schools. I got second in that in the juniors. So that's sort of about as high as I ever got with running. I was in the junior triathlon development squad when I was sort of like 14, 15. Again, never really got that far. I kind of got to 16, 17, and I had enough of all the competitiveness. I just wanted to go out and drink piss, basically, and party. And none of my mates, none of my kind of close mates that I grew up with did sport like that. So I sort of felt like I was missing out on a lot of stuff. But I was sort of there or thereabouts for a long time. Never really took it too serious, and I still don't take it probably too serious. It's just fun for me, and it's just I just don't ever want it to be a chore. I don't want it to be something that I have to do. I don't want to I don't want it to be like, oh, I have to do 16.5 kilometers today at 93% heart rate. Otherwise, I'm not going to win this race in 6 months. Because to me, that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, then when I got to Australia, I sort of carried on with the state league soccer here. Did that for a few years until I had the kids, and then OCR came along.
Yeah, cool. Whereabouts are you from in New Zealand? You said a little town, 30,000 people.
Yeah, Napier, a little town called Napier, North Island, East Coast.
Napier, North. Yeah.
A little Art Deco town, got
cool.
flattened in 1931. I'll give you the old history lesson if you'd like.
Later.
Starting to get to that age where I'm allowed to give you history lessons.
I started eating tofu.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're a little bit away from that yet. Yeah, cool. And you said after that you got hooked on OCR. Tough Mudder was your first event, 2013.
Yeah, Tough Mudder was
where
the
was
first one
that?
here. Where was it?
Yeah.
I think it was Brigadoon or up York. It's kind of like northeast way, 45 minutes away. I'd just always been interested in that sort of stuff. I don't know, there was never really that kind of military kind of, adventure racing kind of thing. I'm not sure, the coast to coast in New Zealand. I'd always liked it. Never trained for it. Never really looked into doing it properly. And I was very, very lucky when I did Tough Mudder. I actually met this guy at the start line, obviously being a bit of a chatterbox and a bit of a, friendly guy. I just started chatting to everyone until someone actually fucking let me talk to them. And this guy had actually just separated from his wife, and he was flying around. He was using the money that he sold the house. He was flying around the country, doing every single Tough Mudder at the time, because he was just like, fuck it, I'm going to stop working for a year. I'm just going to fly around the country and do Tough Mudders. And I managed to obviously run with him, and we just talked about all that sort of stuff, and did all the obstacles together, and sort of finished that one. And then not long after, I think maybe 6 months or a year after, we had Spartan here. I think we only had the sprint and the super, so the 7 and the 14. And then did that, and just I think I finished 14th or something, or 11th or something like that. And I just sort of decided then that was something that I was really interested in, and decided that was obviously at that stage I think I'd given up the soccer, so I just really wanted something to train for. And I just decided that I was training with a group of people that were all looking to fly over to Bright, so we sort of put our eyes on that and started training.
Yeah, man. And I think you for the first time at a 24-hour Enduro, maybe 2018.
Yeah.
Maybe from memory.
Most of those weekends.
I do. Yeah, especially by the end, man. I do vaguely remember sitting with your mum, next to your mum for the presentation ceremony at
Everybody
2019.
has to next to my mum, eh?
She's lovely. She's lovely.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Mrs. Dally.
She's my supporter.
She was a she was a delight. Was she running the pit crew for you?
She did run the pit crew. She disappeared a few times for a cigarette and stuff like that. But no, I do take the piss. I do take the piss out of my mum a lot. But without her, I wouldn't have been able to fly to a lot of these events. She would always meet me there and help me out, and if I needed somewhere to stay when I was over there, she'd pay for that and sort of stuff. So I do take the piss out of her a little bit. She is a bit of she'll even call herself a bit of a witch, bit of a mad hatter, which pretty much fits in fucking OCR perfectly, really. But without her, I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of the shit that I can do. So,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. You said you hit the F45 over there. I always see you training at F45. Have you ever looked at like the F45 games or anything like that?
I did look at the one, but it just didn't fit. I was doing something else. I think I was doing a race the week after or something like that. And so I never really got around to doing it. I mean, I'm probably... it's been kind of 6 months since I've sort of done any of that sort of stuff. Like I do that sort of style of training still, but I think if I stepped up on a 45 stage at the moment, I'd pretty much get smoked. But no, same as anything. I'll always jump up and have a crack anyway. I'm not afraid to lose.
Because there's some big tickets for those. I think they were 25K. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
We had quite a few of the boys.
Peter Day
last year. I know Liam McKenzie flew over last year or the year before for it, even with bloody torn back or some shit like he normally does. But those boys will fly around. Obviously, the money's good enough to do it, so why not?
Yeah, you're basically at the point where you're a professional athlete, right?
Yeah, if you're earning that sort of cash, yeah.
What I'm interested to know about the transition, I guess, from being a long-time soccer player.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah.
Has that happened yet?
I'm taking the tablets, working on it.
By the way, we should have sent each other fucking selfies so we didn't wear the same clothes.
Great shit.
Man.
Style plus.
The transition from soccer, which is a team sport, to OCR, which is very much an individual sport.
Yeah.
Do you think that factored in?
I think I was pretty lucky with the training that I did. A lot of my training was with people, and also, like I say, at that time, I stopped playing soccer because I had the kids, I had children, so I wasn't going to get a chance to play team sport anyway, just because of my kids were there and they were my new priority. I definitely did miss the team sport, just having to be with the lads after the game and stuff like that. But I think as far as OCR goes, it's afterwards or even during, depending on how you treat it, it's still a team sport, man. Like you say, you mentioned on it before, like you got people that fly around the country just volunteering. So you can go to any obstacle course race and have people supporting you around the whole, even if you're elite, people supporting you the whole way around. And like I say, 98% of people will do an obstacle course race in a group, trying to help people get around. So there's still a massive amount of team sport to it. Team training, like a lot of the sort of styles of trainings, team, like trail running, I'll do a lot of running with mates and stuff like that. So it does sort of end up being a team sport if you kind of want it to be that way as well. I mean, obviously time these days, like say I get up at 5 and I'll do what I need to do just to tick a box by myself. But wherever possible, I'm trying to train with someone. With
awesome.
Monty or Haley and I will jump in the garage and do a session together. Yeah,
nice. I think you really. I think that the point where I was racing, where I was like, fuck, the camaraderie in this sport is amazing, was the first ultra that I did. And you're running around like past the second loop, and you're running past people who have just started. And they literally like separate and like clap as you go past because you're in a purple shirt. Like it's fucking amazing how much people
it's
help
really
each
good.
other.
And it's also really hard because like even if you're winning a race, you're still fucking trying to say congratulations and keep going to other people. Like you might not want to because you're stuffed, but just because you're out in front doesn't mean you're trying any harder than person that's a couple of hours behind you. Everyone's trying just as hard. So you just find people are just so friendly. Like even the guys at the top, you'll see what it's like on Facebook. The boys will start getting a bit of banter a week out and stuff like that. And
good banter.
Sounds pretty vicious, and mum jokes start dropping and all that sort of stuff. But straight afterwards, it's handshakes and hugs and congratulations and stuff like that. So it's a great sport.
Yeah, definitely. Mate, you run across all sorts of different distances. What would you say your strength would be with events?
At the moment, I'm not sure, but I'd say definitely my strength, maybe the start of the year or last year, was the hills. Just in the hills, anything hills. I'm still reasonably big to be a runner. I'm sort of sitting in the low 80s, whereas a lot of the guys that I'm racing against, sort of low 70s, late 60 kilos, so they don't have a lot of weight to travel around. But the advantage that I get from that, pretty much, I'm running around with a 15, 20 kilogram weight vest on.
I'm 95, man.
Oh yeah, big rig.
Yeah.
It's all right for summer.
I like cycling at the moment,
but that's about it.
Instagram muscles.
Not carrying up a hill, but I mean, it's not great, obviously, for going up hills and stuff like that. But I think I've got a lot of power in my legs and stuff like that from all the soccer and the cross training and stuff that I've done. And then just bombing down hills, man. I just love bombing down hills. It's just fun. You can't think about anything else in life at that present moment other than bombing down hills, or you will die. So I'd say definitely distance-wise, probably the only advantage that I've got in the distance stuff is that I am a bit fucking crazy. I will always sign up for something that I'm not really sure I can do. Like I say, my first ultra was in Brisbane, and I think my biggest week of running at that time, when I thought I was a runner, was about 40k a week, and Brisbane I think ended up turning to be like 52k with obstacles. So I mean, I'm probably, the longer it gets for me, probably the more sort of people it weeds out advantage wise, and especially with my mindset and how I can sort of, I don't know, just keep pushing. Yeah, so I'd say the longer stuff, the ultras, the dark, the cold, the miserable, the stuff where people start being like, oh, this is shit, and I turn around and think they think it's shit, so I'm going to enjoy it. So it's probably more the mindset stuff that helps me with the longer stuff over the shorter stuff.
Yeah, cool. What do you think it is about that mindset? What do you think it is that makes you a little bit more mentally resilient, where other people are maybe going to quit, you keep going?
Not really sure if there's any one thing I can blame, but I guess I just appreciate life a lot. I know a lot of people that have lost children, or I do a lot of work with like people in retirement homes. My partner Haley, she works with people with cystic fibrosis. So I think you can just look for inspiration anywhere, man. Just be really grateful that you've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a heartbeat. So I just try and make the best of any situation, like if I'm out in the bush and it's raining and it's wet and it's fucking cold, choice. I can feel all those things. I've got the privilege to be able to get out there and do that. And, I'm not restricted by anything, man. And honestly, I just dig into that stuff so much. It's just, I can't ever explain to people how much that can make you do stuff.
That's a really nice answer, man. I like that.
Cheers. I just stole that out of Bear Grylls' book. Nah.
Write books? Has he written any books, Bear Grylls? I don't know. I haven't seen any books around from him.
Yeah.
Do you read much?
No, I just can't fucking sit still long enough to read, mate, to be honest.
I have the same problem. I have exactly the same problem. I do audiobooks now because I don't have to sit still. But what were you going to say, sorry?
I used to do a lot of the sort of podcasts and stuff. Obviously, being at work, spending a lot of time in a van, I did do podcasts and stuff like that for a while. But yeah, I don't know. I can't sit still long enough, and then something, a fucking bird will chirp outside, and I'll be like, oh, I wonder what that bird was talking about, or fucking the car will go past, and I don't know, a bit crazy.
How do you go about? Because obviously you're fairly, you're an elite athlete. How have you gotten yourself to that point from a knowledge perspective? There's a lot of things that you need to. What does it need to be learned to get to the level you're at? What's been that? How's that journey been for you? You said you made a lot of mistakes with nutrition.
I've done a lot of things wrong, man. I still do a lot of things wrong. The amount of times, someone will ask me something and I'll say, don't do this, do that, don't do this. It's generally because I've done that and I've fucked it up and I've paid for it.
Cool.
I generally only have 3 or 4 months without an injury, and it's got nothing to do with anyone but myself. I guess again, it was just more so the socialization of OCR that I started doing that. And then when I obviously traveled to Bright, and I think I finished 5th overall over there, realizing that it was something that I was maybe not naturally gifted at, but something that I was good at and that I could obviously change into. But same again, man. I guess probably my not so big secret is just consistency, which is fucking ironic to say because I'm not very consistent, but I've just done this for such a long time and I've just enjoyed it, and it's never been a chore. It's never been something I had to do. I've had the luxury of, I just want to keep doing it. And then I just got better and better with time. And again, also speaking of time, I didn't ever make excuses with time. When I had the kids, I'd have the full-time job, dinner, kids are in bed, 8 o'clock at night, off to the gym, off to the bush, home for 10, have a feed, go to sleep, start again. So I'm not very scientific when it comes to training or nutrition or all that. I kind of just go with the flow and I just enjoy it, man. And that's probably why I'm not at the top, but I'm also okay with it. I love life too much, and I love the balance of, socializing and drinking and having a chocky bar and, having a sleep in or whatever too much. So.
Yeah, cool. Where do you want to go with it? You know, are there things that you haven't yet achieved that you've got your eyes set on?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that world's toughest mudder. And I'd definitely like to have a better crack at even the local enduro. Like I've obviously done it twice. The first year I'd done enduro, I had ITB issues after 12 hours, so I think I managed 11 laps, which for my first time I was really happy with.
Is
Learned
that
a lot of
like
stuff.
True Grit, you mean? Sorry.
Yeah, True Grit Enduro. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
So when the first year I did it 11 laps. So
That's
then the second
pretty
year
good.
I went back, I wanted to go for 14, which I thought would be a pretty decent level to be at a podium, which turned out to not be. Like you had to get 15s with, fucking Dainsy and Josh, just absolute weapons. Like even a 14 lapper wouldn't even put you like top 5. So
Yeah.
I definitely want to get back fit well with a lot more knowledge for enduro and get a crack at a podium. I'd love to win. There's no reason if I put my mind to it that I couldn't win. Obviously, we've got a lot of good guys. Josh on Dainesy's hung his boots up apparently, but he'll be there.
He'll be there at Enduro, I'd reckon.
Yeah, for sure, man. He needs to do
The
something.
local one.
But Josh, Liam's going to start getting into all that sort of endurance stuff at some stage. You're getting like a lot of people crossing over from other sports. The ultra runners and stuff are starting to clue on they can do it. They're finding it more interesting. Triathletes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to head up enduro and do well at that. World's toughest mudder would be great. But I mean, as far as actual racing myself, I'm pretty content with what I do. Like I'm happy being a top 3 here or there, and just really passing on my knowledge to other people and getting them hooked, man.
Yeah, cool. Are you coming over to True Grit in March? Are you coming over to this Enduro?
Probably not. I hope they're not listening right now, but look, I'd love to, man. But it's just obviously with things being up in the air, it's too hard to commit to training for something. I mean, what it's like for me, for training for enduro, you need 4, 5, 6 months of devoted
100%.
training for that. And for me to put that time and energy into it with family, work, life, it's just not fair for anybody to do that. If I'm going to do it, I'm not going to go. I know I can do enduro. I know I can do 10 laps, whatever. I'm not the sort of person that's going to travel just to go and do it. I've done it twice. I want to win, or I want to push myself. So just with the uncertainty of travel and stuff like that, and restrictions, and obviously new job and stuff like that, I just don't think it's going to be realistic for me, unfortunately.
Cool. And you said, I hope they're not listening. That'll be the True Grit guys. I know you're one of their ambassadors over there.
I mean, they're going off the ambassador list.
Just a bit scrubbed.
Life goes wrong.
But that was the that was the main reason I reached out for the timing of this chat. I've got obviously a big list of people that to chat to, and you've been on it for a while. But when you came second in True Grit a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now.
2, 3 weeks, yeah, they all blur into each other.
They do, especially this year.
Yeah.
So True Grit, you've won that event a couple of times at Donnybrook there.
Yep. Yeah, I won it a few times. Sorry, Carol.
Tell us about that event, man.
Yeah, True Grit's always been pretty close to me. I've always enjoyed just the course down there is just amazing. The first I won it a couple of times, and then a few times in the year I got it wrong. I think I missed a sandbag carry one year, so I sort of disqualified myself from that one. The year after that, I had a torn hip flexor, so I did that. Managed third with that, but just the True Grit crew. I mean, obviously we don't get Spartan here, man, so it's kind of hard to say I do a lot of Spartan races because obviously to fly over and put myself up, and obviously they're never like, and yeah, man, it's just a lot. Like I think I can get to London for about the same cost as I can get to Sydney. So for me to do many Spartans, it's pretty hard. So I just grew really close with the True Grit crew. Just a great bunch of people, real supportive. Obviously, I love trying to spread the word of OCR, and True Grit was the only one that was here. Obviously, we've got Red Dust now, so I'm spreading that word too.
Spreading the gospel. One of your mates, Dion, just commented, Shan meets random people in car parks in the dark to teach them to run trails. He's a legend. I'll never forget that, mate.
Yeah, we said we'd never speak about that. That's actually a pretty good story. So Dion, he actually started a page called Perth OCR, and I'm not sure exactly when they first started doing it, but he was messaging me back and forth about shoes and stuff like that. And him and a couple of boys, they wanted to know about trails. And like I say, for me moving over here and not being able to find trails, it really frustrated me. So anytime someone wanted to know about trail running, I was like, yeah, fuck, let's do it. So he messaged me and he's like, well, would you take me for a run one day? I was like, yeah, sure, meet me at Wollongong, 5 o'clock in the morning. He's like, what? And I was like, just meet me at the car park at Wollongong at 5. And he's like, okay. So I've chucked up this Instagram story just saying that I shouldn't meet random people in the bush by ourselves. And yeah, met him there and took him for a bit of a run. And then, yeah, he just sort of, I think, I'm not sure if he'd done an OCR race before that or not, but just hooked again. And him and I have just been really close mates. And we've travelled together. We travelled to Bright, Red Dust, all that sort of stuff together. But yeah, we were about halfway through the run, and I was sort of starting to get pretty cheeky with him and starting to find out his sense of humour. And I was like, "Oh, what's your wife's sense of humour like?" And he's like, "Why is that?" Because he was actually having to message her every half an hour to make sure he was all right. Obviously meeting up with a strange man. I was like, "What's her sense of humour like?" And he's like, "Oh, pretty good. Why is that?" And I was like, we'll set up the camera and we'll pretend that I'm beating the shit out of you with a stick and we'll send it to her. He's like, no, we can't do that, man. She'll call the cops.
So the banter doesn't just stop on social media. You just like this all the time, if anyone's interested.
No, all about the banter.
I think it's why we get along.
Yeah, exactly, man. Gets me in the shit a lot too.
Oh, me too. Sam's just said, can you use the All Trails app over there?
Oh, I've seen this app and I haven't actually used it, so I don't have a definitive answer for you. But can we comment on this later?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. I'll find out, or I'll send Sam. I'll send Sam a message later on. I'm assuming that's like one that you can plot.
Sam is one of. I don't know. Sam's one of our Spartan volunteers. Actually, she's been volunteering at the Spartan boot camps that we've had for the Gold Coast up here, getting around in the red shirt. You're a legend.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll find out. So I don't use any apps like that for following stuff. I kind of just go to the trails I know, or I'll get lost. So I'll find out and I'll let you know.
Sweet. What's your have you got a best story, like best say banter exercise story? I reckon you'd have fucking heaps. Maybe
probably
like funniest exercise story. I usually ask people what's your funniest race fail, but I'm definitely going to ask you that. But I reckon you've got more funny stories than just one. What's some funny shit you've had happen while you've been exercising?
Fuck, and there's probably too many to think of, and you put me on the spot. I'm going to have to probably freeze and maybe come back to it. But obviously Dion's one was pretty good. Yeah, I'm going to have to come back to you, man. I can't even think of it at the moment. I'm going to ruin that.
No worries at all.
There's just so many, like, just constant banter. Obviously, I don't know if you know Monty. Him and I are always bagging each other out as much as possible.
I don't think I've met him, but I obviously see him on your stories all the time. The full Monty. I don't know if we've spoken or anything, but he's a pretty gun athlete as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really good all rounder. His running's come along a lot. His running's come along a wrong way. His running's good. Yeah, and then he's just a beast. The same, he just does whatever he puts his mind to. He just seems to be good at. But him and I just slag each other off constantly. Probably one thing we did do, not really so much banter, but his son Tyson has autism. So when we did Enduro last year, he started a fundraiser for Autism Australia, and we were just trying to raise as much money and doing all these little challenges and stuff like that. I think he was going to do if he raised like $2,000, he was going to drink a beer out of a gumboot. Another couple of grand, he was going to get an autism tattoo. And we were kind of sitting at like the $7,500 mark, which is fucking massive, really, when it comes to asking people for money these days, because there's so many charities to give to. So we were about a week out from going to Enduro, and we were like, how are we going to get an extra $1,000 or so? And Monty's a Lululemon ambassador, so we sort of decided that why don't we put out there that if we wear, so if we wear what if we wear like Lululemon booty shorts? Would people give money for that? So, sort of went back and forth. We messaged Lululemon. They're like, yeah, sure, go for it. Whatever, great idea. And we chucked it up on the socials, and within, I think it was within 36 hours, we'd raised up to $10,000. We'd raised just over $2,000 to run a lap of enduro and booty shorts, which is just fucking disgusting of society to think that that's what they want to do.
I remember seeing that. I remember seeing it on the socials, and I remember seeing the booty shorts at True Grit. But I think that's good, man. I think there's a lot of people that are asking for charity now, which is great. I think, you know what, I saw a stat come out from AMSI, so the Australian Mass Participation Sporting Events Alliance. So this is something that Chris Heverin, the guy who owns the franchisee for Spartan Australia, so he started this thing called AMSI, which is basically trying to keep all these fucking events afloat, right? Because triathlons, City to Surf, Gold Coast Marathon, like they're bleeding money, hemorrhaging money. We've had like 19,000 events cancelled, and a lot of these businesses are going out of business. And it's actually cost the charities like $75 million so far, they reckon. Have I still got you there, man? Well, might have lost Shannon. Hopefully he jumps back on. I'll just message him, guys. Hopefully. Oh, you just messaged me, laptop died. Just one sec, guys. I'll just message him. One second, guys. He's coming back on. Hopefully he's coming back on, and we'll keep chatting. So for anyone who has been following, we did an episode of Harder to Kill over the weekend. Coach Mick Stewart and myself ran an episode all about goal planning. So check it out at the OMR page, or it will be up on the OMR YouTube tomorrow. All of these episodes of Harder to Kill, of Chat with Matt, of a couple of the different things that I do, all go up on the OMR YouTube channel. So you can find that at the link in my bio, either at my personal bio, or you can find it at my IG. You can click that link there. That'll take you to the OMR YouTube, and you can go back and watch these interviews. So if you head over to the OMR YouTube and you check that playlist out and scroll through, you might see someone that I spoke to a year ago or 6 months ago, and yeah, I might have already chatted to your favorite athlete, or somebody who makes the shoes, or somebody who does something in the sport. Corey says still has to go back and watch that. Yeah, it was a really good chat. Doing it with doing Harder to Kill with Mick Stewart from he runs a business called Uncaged. He's one of Australia's cryptayers. So Mick's putting together the 4-hour hurricane heat at Gold Coast. So that'll be a really cool event, which hopefully you're coming to as well, Corey, but I'm not sure. I think you might be just taking your trifecta very seriously. So hopefully Shannon's coming back, but yeah, that Hard Kill series is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Also, I'd really like some feedback from you guys on who I should talk to for say Chat with Matt. So this show is all about chatting to people in the obstacle racing space, or people who might be able to add insight or value into that space. So I try to talk to other coaches, athletes, people who make the gear, and yeah, I'm always after suggestions and input. So you guys point me in a direction and I'll go there. Hopefully Shan's coming back. I think his laptop died, so he's probably just got to plug in. Up. He's saying, sorry folks, he's here. We can just have I'll talk and he'll time conversation while we wait for the laptop to boot back up. What else have we got going on? We've got the next of the Spartan Bootcamp series up at Urban Extreme this weekend, this Sunday morning at 6 a.m. I believe, up in Brisbane. Now I'm not going to be there this time. It's the only one that I won't be at. I will be running a boot camp, most likely at EMF. We might go for a little trail run around Nerang. which is right near the gym. So we'll do a little trail run, then we'll go to EMF. We'll probably do some obstacle skill work. They've got a big rope set up. They've got monkey bars. We can probably rig up some rings. And then they've got all these recovery pools, so cold water pools, saunas, spas, magnesium salt pools that are like Epsom salt baths. So we'll be out there this Sunday. So if anyone's keen on that and in the Gold Coast area, send me a message or comment. Keen on EMF, and I'll send you the details for that when I firm it up later in the week. What's going on, Shan? Are you far away, man? You far away from getting this laptop up? And Corey can't wait to join EMF. At least Sam says at least you can't kill me this weekend. So I put together a workout at Spartan Gold Coast, the Spartan Gold Coast boot camp over the weekend, and it was fucking savage. It was savage even for me. I had the guys do. There we go. There's our boot camp. So we had over 100 Spartans there. And, I had the guys at one point just do 500 meters of walking lunges around the perimeter of the park, and it was a little bit savage, but yeah, it was a good run. I'm just going to message Shannon, guys. If you guys have any questions while we're in the interim, either for me or Shannon, ask, and we will. I will definitely answer them. But I'll just message him, see where he's at. Okay, so it's gone flat. So at the moment, we're just waiting for it to charge. Won't turn on. So not sure how long it's going to be. What I might do, guys, is I might just mute myself for 1 minute, and I'll just very quickly vid call Shan, and we'll work out whether we're going to persist. And if we're not back on in a minute or two, we'll cut it in half, and we'll pick it up at a later date and have to finish the chat off later. So just give me 1 sec, guys. All right, I've unmuted, so now we can hear you. This is the weirdest podcast I've ever done. It's all good. So have we got some activity there, man? Are we back on? It's turning on, folks. Has anyone got a question for me or Shannon or anything? How's the drama? So much drama. It's a late one too. What's that? Will I have to go out of that stream and start again, or am I coming back in 3, 2, 1? I think I'm coming back in. Can't see you yet. Oh, apparently you guys can't hear Shannon. I've just got him on speaker, but that's okay. I haven't seen you there yet, so maybe just leave that stream, close that browser, reopen it, and then all right, we're back, guys. We're going to be back very shortly. I think, maybe. We haven't had very good luck with tech for this whole talk. Remember to drink more water. Drink more water, folks. It's important. It's just loading, bro. Yeah, it's trying to, man. It's having a bit of a Cool. Because we were just about to talk about booty shorts, and I feel like it was just about to ramp up.
Yeah, I think someone cut the internet off on purpose.
Yeah, the government's like, fuck that. It's crashing. All right. Do you want to call it, man, and we'll pick it up at a later date? All right. Sweet as. See you, dude. All right. So guys, we're gonna call it there. I'm gonna get Shannon. We'll pick it up later, at a later date, maybe sometime later this week, whenever it suits him, and we'll continue this chat because we were going to start talking about booty shorts and a couple of other questions that I definitely wanted to ask him. But thanks for tuning in for the late night edition of Chat with Matt. And sorry about a couple of tech issues that we had coming on late and obviously ending it a little bit early. But we will wrap it up there. And everyone enjoy the rest of their night. A couple of guys saying thanks. So no stress at all. See you guys.